Hey everybody. First of all, I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy during these pretty troublesome times. The COVID-19 crisis is putting strains on many of us, myself included, but if there's a silver lining here, it's that I got a little more free time now, so I decided to pull this tutorial together. Today I'll be discussing the use of microscale sets in Brickfilms, why they're useful, and how to effectively use them in your animations. I'm by no means an expert on this, but I just wanted to share my observations with you because I know when I was starting out, at least as a young animator, I never really played around with scale as much as I could have, and that's a shame because it can open doors for you as an animator. So, what do I mean when I say scale? As Brickfilmers, we almost always base the scale of our set pieces on minifigures, which makes sense. They're our main characters, of course we want to build a world to accommodate them. Everything from trees to doors to cars will be proportional to their height, more or less. But what if we went smaller? There are plenty of reasons to downsize things, but above all else it will save you time and money. Imagine you want to set your story in a town or a city. If you want all the buildings to be on the scale of a minifigure, well, it will take countless hours and probably thousands of dollars to set everything up. Don't get me wrong, plenty of Brickfilmers go that route, and that's fine. But in some cases, it is much easier to take things down to the micro scale. In fact, sometimes you don't even have a choice. If you want to show, say, the entire Earth, there's no way you can build that on a minifigure scale. Inevitably, it's going to have to be much, much smaller. Now let's examine a set piece for the upcoming second episode of The Adventures of Tyler and Henry. This is Greenville, the hometown of our protagonists, and as you can see, it's rather small, easily fitting on a single gray base plate. We've seen glimpses of this town before, most notably in Quest for the Framestone, but here I needed to show a bigger slice of their world than we've ever seen before. The final shot I captured ended up looking like this. Pretty neat, huh? Notice the trees in the foreground are on a minifigure scale, but the town in the background obviously is not. A few notes about this setup. First of all, as I've stated before, you should only bother building what is going to be in the shot and nothing else. The town was laid out to accommodate one angle, and the placement of the mountains on either side was very, very intentional. The buildings are pretty simple, some of them just being basic squares. I tried using as many different colors as possible to make the scene more visually interesting. In the end, this is all it took to make the town, so even a modest Lego collection can produce some believable micro-scale sets. One problem with scaling down is that the illusion can be ruined if the audience sees elements that they are familiar with, like studs on Lego bricks. To prevent viewers from remembering they're looking at a tiny town, I did my best to hide these elements. Throw in decent lighting and the right camera angle, and you can make a tiny set piece feel much bigger. As a final note, there's no reason you can't jump between scales or do a hybrid shot like the one I showed earlier. Here we have the familiar setting of Inventors Incorporated, which has now appeared in 3 of my Brickfilms, by the way. If I want to place it in my tiny town, I have to scale it way down while still keeping it recognizable. You will always lose details when you scale things down, which is a major drawback, so you have to decide what the identifying features of the building are and keep them, disposing of the rest. Remember, even if you do downsize things, the degree to which you do so is entirely up to you. You don't always have to make things as small as possible, especially if you want to maintain more detail. These are factors you must weigh for yourself, and at the end of the day, the final call for how things appear in your Brickfilm is completely up to you. And that's it. Hopefully you got something useful out of this video. Again, I'm no expert, but I just thought I'd share my 2 cents. Thanks for watching, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.